Neurofeedback diary entry number 8. The Trekkie in me wants to be like, captain's log. And then but I just know that that's in my head. So this was the first session I've had in a full week. I didn't go for a full week. I had to cancel my last session because it was Andrew's grandmother's funeral, and I was there. I was in attendance, obviously. I was even singing, and so the time that I went before, so usually I'm going Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesday I went, and I had to cancel that Wednesday because of the funeral. So that time that I went, it still went really well, and however, the anxiety marker was higher than it had been. It had been trending down, and then it went up a little bit. He said, it makes complete sense with stress and nerves about, everything that's going on with your family. And I was like, yeah, totally. There was a lot of self-compassion there, a lot of understanding. I wasn't distraught or upset because it wasn't backwards progress. All the steps are progress. And so today, when I went, I actually was very tired. I'm going to go home and take a nap. My brother and his fiance are in town. And so I'm really excited that they're here. But then I also had my first group fitness class that I'm teaching and my first in-person training this morning early. I got up at 5 so that I could do a 6 to 7 training with my new client in my neighborhood. And then I taught my first group fitness class that I'm starting in the neighborhood also. So it all just kind of coincided. So anyway, that leads to me being real sleepy now at this point of the day in the afternoon. So that it was super interesting today in neurofeedback, being able to see, he's like, I can see that you are really tired, based on measuring certain wavelength brain activity. I was like, that's pretty wild. But also he was like, have you eaten recently? Because there were these the blood glucose barrier, the brain working as hard as it does apparently uses a lot of glucose, sugar. And so there were dips within it where in the wavelengths, a certain one that he was pointing out to me, he's like, did you eat recently? I was like, I actually did eat with my Zach and Jimmy right before. And he's like, so probably your body had not had a chance to absorb and digest enough of it for it to have the benefit. So it still seems like you're kind of dipping in a deficit of not having enough calories, not having enough sugar. And I was like, okay. But it's crazy that he can see that from my brave wavelengths. Isn't that wild that I'm like, you know what? I might be in a calorie deficit because of doing the group fitness and I did eat, but anyway, I just think that's wild. So, but what's extra cool for me today, I was trying to find my comfortable posture that was relaxed and not holding tension in my jaw or my neck, and trying, doing what I do. And then with bringing my focus back to my breath and the tangibility of my posture and stuff when I felt my mind drifting to something about later today or something from last week, because that's when that anxiety marker would start to spike, and it causes the Jetsons to pause and it, make it much more blippy. So it was not a struggle today, but it was definitely almost a struggle to stay awake, because he said afterward, he asked how I was feeling. I was like, really tired. And he said, that's actually a really good sign. I love to hear that, because that means you were able to, within this session, calm your central nervous system, right? Yay. Meaning I was able to get that anxiety marker down. And when we looked at the chart, I had said, it was trending down. And then last time, the day before the funeral, spiked up a little bit. But now it's back down to where it was before. And he's like, and especially not having been for a week's time and having the practice of letting, those new neural pathways continue to be worked on. He's like, the fact that it went back down is great. And so tomorrow when I go for my session, we're moving away from that main focus of the prefrontal cortex, that main anxiety marker, and we're moving on on to, he said the name of it, but I've since forgotten. But basically we're going to move the sensor and move on to the next subset of things that he had wanted to work on for me based on my initial quantitative EEG. So yay, forward motion and progress. So proud of myself. Today, my little mantra, while I soft focused on the Jetsons and was looking at all the, barometers being measured and everything, was, I am strong, I am brave, I am loved. And that's just what I kept saying to myself. And the positivity of it is working. I feel better when I do have dips of frustration and sadness or whatever might be going on, oversharing. We're trying to get pregnant with our second, and with Olivia we got pregnant right away. And so now, a couple months in of trying and it not happening, it brings up a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, but realizing that I'm able to honor what I'm feeling, navigate through it, and not feel stuck, has shown myself, I've proven to myself that that's a lot of growth in and around my anxiety. That's huge for me. That's huge. Like the other day when I got my period, it was very, I realized I was kind of pissed, I was kind of sad, I was a little angry, I was mad, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit with these feelings. I'm not going to pretend like I'm fine, because I'm not. I'm bummed. And yes, I can still know that I'm doing everything on my end that I should be, and so is Andrew, to facilitate this happening. And I'm able to try to let it go and release any sort of expectation on myself, we're doing what we should be doing. Fun homework assignment, I'm not mad at it, but you know what I mean? That the rest of it is completely out of my control, and being able to let go and release that was very freeing. But then also letting myself sit with the feelings instead of trying to shove them down or pretend like they didn't exist was huge. And I do think I can accredit a lot of that to the work that I've done with Anna, my therapist, and then also neurofeedback now. I think that surrounding myself with it's okay, we're gonna feel this, but know that it's temporary, and then that I can move forward through it, as opposed to, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. That is really one of my new mantras. So neurofeedback went well. That's just also kind of a life update. And then tomorrow I will do another video so that I can give you guys an update on how it goes. And we ran over a little. This actually was a huge compliment, and I felt really honored. In the beginning of the session, we always kind of sit and catch up for a little bit before he starts the episode and hooks me up to the sensors and stuff. And so today, a part of it on me, I got there at 1:02 and my appointment's at 1. I'm I would have liked to have been here a few minutes earlier, but it's fine. And he brings me in right away, but we get to talking, and he's like, you're just so easy to talk to that I chatted a bit much, sorry. And I was like, compliment taken, thank you. I was like, you too. That I also enjoy catching up with you. But anyway, so tomorrow he said he'll explain kind of further which different area we're going to and what that means and where the sensor will be and what we're tracking exactly. But